You're a bitch ass, bitch ass, yes, he's a bitch ass, yes, the man's a bitch ass, yes, you're a bitch ass, bitch ass, yes, he's a bitch ass, yes, the man's a bitch ass, yes.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the proper all forms of Dragon Ball Super Broly explained, because it came to my attention that improper and misinformation was released to the community by Geekdom101, and as the face of the community and as the leader, the head of the Dragon Ball YouTube community, is my responsibility to correct the mistakes and, correct the errors and information being released in the Dragon Ball community. So let's look at this video, and I'm going to go ahead and correct certain points in it and make sure that the proper information is highlighted. So without further ado, let's play the audio.
So what we're going to do with this video is we're going to go over all of Broly's forms from Dragon Ball Super Broly, the story behind the forms, the references and the nuances, pretty much explaining what they are, including that suppressed grade 8 form that people have.
That is already incorrect. That form is not suppressed grade 8. It has already been officially referred to as Wrathful form, or in the Japanese language, Ikari form. So right off the bat, releasing misinformation. It is not suppressed grade 8. That is not the proper term for it. Please get it right. Geekdom101. I'm not even calling you 101. You're 090. Your information is flawed.
People have been asking about what is the story behind that. I got it for you here on this video. We'll talk about it next.
Okay, let's skip this pesky endorsement.
Will contain spoilers for the film, so I'm gonna make this video with the idea and the assumption that you've already seen the movie. Now,
okay, right off the bat, he didn't care about spoilers several months ago when he was spoiling the entire plot of the movie before the Japanese release even came out. So why does he care now, like 2 months after the movie has come out? What kind of logic is that? That is so, like, you put a spoiler warning, but you are literally the guy that released the entire plot, the entire synopsis of the movie just so you could get views first. I just had to highlight that. Let's keep going.
When talking about Broly's transformations in power, you have to remember what is told to us early in the film when Broly is still in the capsule and the scientists are telling King Vegeta that Broly's power is unusual, and we actually see him scan Broly, and for a split second his power goes up, then it goes back down, and they discuss this for a while in the movie, and that's kind of the key to Broly's power.
No, it's not. Let's get this right. Yes, they did say that Broly, when he would throw tantrums, his power would go up and then go back down. Broly's power level at this age was only 920, when in comparison to the original Broly, he was born at a power level of 10,000. So yeah, just a little bit of trivia and information that was missed here. But the misinformation here was that that's the complete crux of Broly's power. No, it is not. Like any Saiyan, yes, the trigger is rage and a traumatic event, but the way that he just generalizes this information would lead someone down the path of misinformation. But let's keep going.
That is the fact that it's based purely on rage. It can be out of control, and when it's out of control, Broly himself lets off an incredible amount of power, and he has to be restrained, whether it be with Paragus' shock treatment or whether it be with Gogeta Blue in the movie. So early on in the film, during Broly's fight with Vegeta, we established that Broly's base form is already incredibly strong, because Broly...
Now see how he already contradicted himself, because he just said that Broly's power is based purely upon rage. However, he goes on to state that Broly's base power level is ridiculously strong, and this was not with the rage. This was aside the fact of rage. So why contradict yourself in this manner? Like, you just said this like literally less than 10-20 seconds ago, and you're already contradicting yourself. Let's keep going. The misinformation or the confusion here, and this was more so the movie's fault than his fault. They wanted to make this narrative that Broly was a novice. However, narrative, like dialogue wise, they were like, oh, he's so great, he's so strong. All the while, visually, you're seeing him just get dominated and beaten down to a bloody pulp. I'm like, what's impressive about this? Anyway, this is not just a movie review. Let's keep going. I want to cover the facts about these forms.
Broly fights Vegeta in his base. Vegeta goes golden-haired SSJ, and Broly...
Why did he say golden-haired SSJ? You could have just said Super Saiyan or SSJ. Why put emphasis on, like, what? And it's not even that difficult. You have Super Saiyan God, that's SSG, and then Super Saiyan Blue, that's SSB. So why did you have to put the emphasis on yellow or golden SSJ? That's stupid.
Broly's still hanging with him. Obviously, Vegeta's the better tactical fighter, but Broly's still.
If Broly's still hanging with him, he's not the better tactical fighter.
Is insanely strong. Goku even comments on it because we see Vegeta having trouble with Broly until he goes into SS God. When he taps into that God power, then he's able to actually defeat Broly in the film until he comes back and rises up out of the water. This time he has yellow eyes, and thus he is in his suppressed grade 8 form, which is... Again,
not suppressed grade 8 form. Wrathful form / Ikari. Get the terminology right. You couldn't even properly refer to Super Saiyan as Super Saiyan. You had to call it Golden Super Saiyan. And then now you're getting the Ikari / Wrathful form wrong and by calling it suppressed grade 8. That is not the proper term for it.
What Paragus talks about in the film. Now, we're going to get to that here in just a moment. I want to clarify something, though. People have been kind of wondering, well, wait a minute. The only training Broly did was he fought Paragus, and then he trained with Ba, his pet.
At least he got that right.
And whatnot. That's what Broly said. That appears to be the case, and it's one of those things where you can criticize the power scaling if you want. I think Toriyama's whole idea is that Broly is a freak of nature. He's a
And with all due respect to Akira Toriyama, Broly was already that. He actually just did a worse interpretation of Broly because they left it properly ambiguous in the original Dragon Ball Super Broly movie 8, where we didn't know what kind of training Broly did after he rescued his father and himself from planet Vegeta, which, again, I like the fact that it was open-ended because we could just assume that Paragus trained him or taught him some basic, like, combat maneuvers, and it was just all Broly's raw power that took him to the next level. But in this movie, they made the mistake of just saying, all Broly's ever done is, like, training with his father and dodging Ba, dodging his attacks. And we're supposed to believe that this put him on par with post-Tournament of Power Goku and Vegeta. And the problem is the prodigy excuse really just doesn't work. It only takes you so far until it's just not believable at all. They wanted to also, they just could never make the decision. Are we telling the story of a prodigy? Or do we want to tell the story of a novice fighter that's learning as he goes? Like, they never make that. They never decide which story they're trying to tell. They're trying to tell both, which was the mistake. Just some interesting viewpoints for you guys to digest.
Prodigy, sort of like Kale.
No, Kale was not a prodigy. As much as I like Kale, Kale was not a prodigy. Kale was basically Saiyan Saga Gohan, where, yeah, maybe she could be an asset in battle, but because of her own inhibitions and not wanting to fight and just scared and whatnot, she more often than not messed up. Which, ironically, we just got past Dragon Ball Super episode 100 in the English dub, and you get to that point where she just cannot help Caulifla, and she's worried about it and she's upset. Even though she would be a great asset to her team, she flops, much like Gohan did when the Saiyans showed up, where he could be a great asset had he known how to fight and use his power. So I'm just, again, another correction.
He's able to not only become very strong very fast, but he learns as he fights, learns more about himself, and his
Where
opponents.
where was it that he learned about himself? He can't learn anything about himself if he's raging out. The story was that he was a mindless beast when his father told him to be, and it didn't make any sense because his father just told him to fight. It wasn't that his father had mind control on him. It was just like, go fight or I'm gonna shock you with this collar. That was so it just made the whole thing made no sense. It was some kind of a weird disconnect there. But Broly was learning nothing about himself. He was just getting stronger for no reason, almost no reason at all.
That when he fights Goku and is able to use Goku's own move, the God Bind, on him right after.
Yeah, he reversed the technique, which made no sense. He doesn't know anything about God Ki, so how is he able to manipulate it at all with no training and no perception of what it is? I know this, I said it was going to be me correcting the forums, but just every misinformation that this guy's releasing, I have to stop and correct it. Like, no, he did not. He's just getting stronger as he fights. That's all it is. That's why at the end of the movie, you know, Goku is saying, oh, you were just good all on your own, but you need to learn some extra stuff. I can teach you, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, that's not going to go anywhere. That's just basically movie clickbait to get you to watch the future episodes and movies. But again, they just had a confusion on which story they were going to tell, the prodigy or the novice rookie, you know, gaining abilities as they go.
After now, back to the suppressed grade ape form. So
Wrathful
they explain
form.
that Broly is somehow able to tap into the power of an Uzaru, a great ape, without actually transforming into one. Now, they don't actually explain or show how Broly was able to discover this power. Like, they never actually show us how he's able to do it. We don't know if he tapped into it while he was a great ape or if he tapped into it when he got his tail cut off by his dad. It's never really explained, but one thing that...
It was actually explained. Paragus straight up said Broly is using the power of the great ape, but in human shape. That was the exact explanation for it, which made no sense, because then you could say, well, why aren't Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan able to do it? Because all of them have had tails, all of them have experienced great ape. So this just seems like a hard pull for Broly to be able to do this and not the other three. They're all from the same universe. They're, you know, Goku and Vegeta are pure-blooded, so that's not the reason. This was just terrible writing and terrible plot. Again, they should have just stuck with the legendary Super Saiyan plot, which again, we're getting to that point where I'm going to correct the whole ball of wax, but let's keep going. Again, Wrathful form Broly was explained in the movie. This was misinformation by Geekdom101.
Fans have constantly brought up is that they feel, and I kind of agree with them, that this could be a tribute or an homage to Dragon Ball GT's SS4. And what I mean by that is this: in Dragon Ball GT, Goku is fighting Vegeta Baby, or Baby Vegeta, and he looks at the...
Why mispronounce the name? It's Baby, not baby. No, it's Baby.
Becomes the golden great ape, the golden Uzaru form, and he's out of control. Then he's able to control that power and mutate one more time into the SS4 transformation, Super Saiyan.
And again, he just proved that Super Saiyan 4 had nothing to do with Dragon Ball Super Broly. But let's keep going. I'll explain it when we get there.
Form in GT. Now, this transformation that Goku does as a humanoid is way stronger than Golden Uzaru. I mean, it just is. But Goku, it appears like, was able to control himself and suppress that power and convert it into something more. And people have said, is this Toriyama rewriting GT's SS4?
No, it wasn't. Quit headcanoning.
I don't know if that's what's going on here, but I do know that it definitely could be, and I say could be because we haven't heard an official statement about this, a tribute or an homage to Dragon Ball GT. It could definitely be an idea that was inspired by GT, but Broly's power is not quite the same as SS4, so we can't say it's the same thing. It's just not the same thing. But the idea of a character, I guess, learning how to, you know, master and control himself in Great Ape. We've seen Vegeta do it and other people.
Goku was doing this very same thing way back in Dragon Ball. Remember when Goku punched through King Piccolo's chest? He was channeling the power of the Great Ape at that point in time. They just never bring it back up again, ever again, for some reason. But again, keep on with that misinformation. Broly's Ikari Wrathful form has little to do with Super Saiyan 4. The differences is that Super Saiyan 4 is a Super Saiyan with a tail who can control their Golden Great Ape state. And therefore they can retain their rationality, and they can, what it really comes down to is that they take the human form so that they can have more speed and more mobility, because obviously when they're in that giant state, they're more of a target. They're not as agile as they would be in this human form. So that's the whole basis of Super Saiyan 4. Broly, however, is just bad. This Broly right here was just bad writing whatsoever. I mean, Vic Mignogna's talent can only do so much for this Broly, but the writing and the plot and the storytelling behind this Broly was just horrible. The Ikari form just literally made no sense, and it being there made no sense because it really didn't factor into the rest of the movie. But we'll keep going.
People do it, but to actually convert that into energy where you don't have to be in the Great Ape form, that is certainly something they may have borrowed from GT. Now, when Broly is in this power, he has yellow eyes, which may also be a little hint or a little nod at Dragon Ball GT, because Goku also has yellow eyes when he is in that form. But
okay, that is a terrible pull. That is a terrible headcanon to make. Okay, we know that yellow eyes is not a distinguishing characteristic of Super Saiyan 4, and here's why. We have other characters to compare this against. Yellow eyes are just distinctive to Goku, and if you want to count Dragon Ball heroes, you can also bring up Gohan as well. However, you have other characters you can compare them to Vegeta, who had blue eyes or aqua green eyes, and then you can compare that to the fusion Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who had just straight up blue eyes. And you can also pull again to Broly, who had his regular eyes. So again, yellow eyes are not a distinguishing characteristic of the form. It just varies from user to user.
Even if Toriyama does decide to actually make SS4 to like rewrite it for Super, it's still not going to be the same thing. There will be differences. But either way,
how do you know that?
Broly shows an incredible increase in power as he's fighting Vegeta, then Goku, then Gogeta. So with the Vegeta fight, he taps into this power, and if we're basing it on the original calculations given to us back in the day, the Great Ape form is supposed to give you a 10 times multiplier.
Which, again, made no sense that he was able to go against Goku and Vegeta at all, because he was just working off a 10 times multiplier. Goku in the Saiyan saga, or rather in Saiyan saga and the Namek saga, was able to go way beyond this 10 times multiplier with the Kaioken. So Broly working off of something, and we have to speculate that it's less than what would be going into the full Great Ape form, because you're going into like a, what do I want to call it? A partial transformation, so to speak. Like, it's not even a transformation. Maybe you're just tapping into a little bit of the power. Let's say it's just a 5 times multiplier. Just for, again, this is not the official release multiplier. This is just my own speculation. Let's say you're getting half of the actual power of the Great Ape form that you would get going into the Great Ape form. On a 5 times multiplier, he was able to go head up with God Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, Super Saiyan God Vegeta, and not just get smeared. Again, terrible writing, terrible. They just should have left him alone.
In addition to that, Broly also shoots out Mouth Blast, which we've seen Mouth Blast from other characters,
Nappa,
like
Raccoon,
and others, but in this case,
Tanks.
it's implied to be because Uzaru's...
They never implied it. They never once in the movie said this was because he was using Great Ape power. They never once, not in the Japanese or the dub, they never said that the reason he was using Mouth Blast was because of the Great Ape thing. They never said it. Are we gonna say Are we gonna say that Nappa or Raccoon or Gotenks or any of those other characters were using grade 8? No, it's just an attack.
Grade 8s also use Mouth Blast. So there's that whole tie-in. Basically, Broly is raging out. He's out of control. Some are calling this form suppressed rage. I don't know what to really call it because it has no official...
No, it has an official title, Geekdom. Wrathful Ikari. It was already an official title released. Wrathful Ikari. If you thought that you were the leader of the Dragon Ball community, you should be aware of this stuff.
Official name, Suppressed Uzaru, but basically, this is the form that Broly uses before the incident with Paragus happens, which we're going to get to.
Why is he calling this an incident? We all know he dies. This movie is 2 months old. 2 months old. Why are you... Like, this is how you should have been acting when you were releasing those spoilers and synopsis. This whole trying to be spoiler free thing makes no sense.
Broly fights Vegeta as a god, is doing much better. Then Goku steps in, and during that fight, he also is having trouble with Super Saiyan God Goku until...
Not really. It was just too even of a fight. Goku was only somewhat losing when he went to Super Saiyan God, and then when he went to Super Saiyan Blue, it was pretty much an even fight.
At one point in the fight, Broly does get stronger, gets more control, and winds up really beating the crap out of Goku for...
No, he doesn't. He doesn't beat the crap out of Goku unless he's referencing when he was Super Saiyan God, just regular Super Saiyan Red God. That's the only time where he like gets one good moment in on Goku to where Goku is out of it and Piccolo starts talking to him subconsciously or, in his mind. And that was the only point where that even happened. Other than that, the fight was pretty much even.
Some time. So as a result of that, we're witnessing Broly getting stronger and stronger as he fights. Then, of course, there's the scene where, spoiler, I warned you at the beginning of the video, Frieza kills Paragus, Broly becomes a Super Saiyan. Now, this is the first time that Broly ever tapped into this power, which is kind of weird considering that you would think if he's able to rage out, he'd be able to rage out enough to get this power, but...
Now, this is the only point where he's somewhat correct, because it does make no sense that Broly is not able to go Super Saiyan before this point, where he's constantly in danger on planet Vampa. He tends to rage out a lot, so you're telling me he never raged out a lot. He's a full-blooded Saiyan with great power and should have a ton of S cells, so he should have definitely went Super Saiyan before this point. And just for the sake of the plot, he doesn't. It has to happen here. It makes no sense. So maybe he's right on this piece of information, but it's weighing it against all the other stuff that he's been incorrect about up to this point. Yeah.
Either way, maybe he never felt heartbreak. Maybe you have to feel that.
No, you don't have to feel heartbreak. It's anger, then power, then S cells. There's nothing about heartbreak. Yes, a traumatic event has to happen. You could just get really, really angry. It typically is anger. That's what it is. It's typically anger.
First, it's difficult to really say what happened to Broly because, again, we never saw much of him on Vampa when he was training. There's not much there. So Broly does transform, and using the old guidebooks and multipliers, this is a 50 times multiplier. Now, I'm not a power scaler, but logically, if the controlled grade 8 form, if we're using the same multipliers from back in the day in the older material, if these multipliers stack...
No, they don't.
We've got a 50 times multiplier for the original golden-haired Super Saiyan transformation, 10 times multiplier for the grade 8. Could this be a 500 times multiplier?
No, it's not. They do not stack. It's never been stated that they stack. Quit making stuff up. That's like saying because Goku goes from, let's say he was fighting as Kaioken, and then he decides to transform into Super Saiyan. Does that mean that those forms stack? No. Now, if he's already in Super Saiyan and then he uses the Kaioken technique, they would stack. So it's the same thing as Broly. It was just a 50 times multiplier. Quit trying to apply your head canon. There is nowhere that it is stated to be a 500 times multiplier, which would still make no sense that he was able to go against Goku and Vegeta, because they're well beyond that. Super Saiyan 3 is what, like a 800 times multiplier? So Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue would be way beyond that. Then you would have to factor in that they're post-term in a power. It still wouldn't make sense that Broly would be able to go against these individuals. So no, this is not a 500 times multiplier. It is just the standard 50 times multiplier that a Super Saiyan would give you. Now, if after he went Super Saiyan that he started to mix in or use Ikari power or do a Ikari transformation post Super Saiyan, then you could say that, oh, he's getting a 50 times multiplier and then the Ikari boost. But no, he is only in the Super Saiyan form, and that's the only boost that he is getting.
It's up to you. Let me know in the comments if you think it is. Now, that being said, this version of Broly is able to mop the floor with Goku and Vegeta both in blue post.
No, he isn't. They don't even really fight. They sort of just bounce off of each other, and then they do the whole Kamehameha Gallic Gun sequence. There's no real fight. Like, I'm surprised that Vegeta got his armor torn up at this point, because Broly doesn't even throw fists with these two. They dart off of each other. Literally, the Goku and Vegeta versus Broly fight is literally less than 10 or 15 seconds max. At max. Then they do the whole Kamehameha Gallic Gun thing that looks like it's out of Dragon Ball Fighters, and that's it. Like, they just lure Broly to attack Frieza, and then that's it. So again, this is misinformation. Broly does not mop the floor with Goku and Vegeta. That's sensationalism right there.
Tournament of power. So Goku and Vegeta's combined Kamehameha Gallic Gun, I guess, combo move, Gallic Kamehameha or Kamehameha Gun, whatever you want to call it, that did nothing. Broly.
It's just two attacks. They are not fused as Goku and they're not fused as Vegito. They're not fused as Gogeta yet. It is two techniques.
Shredded right through it with his energy, and thus Goku and Vegeta decide to go fuse, and they make Gogeta. Now, this would lead to Gogeta versus Broly, and they have a pretty competitive fight.
Oh, you know this is a lie. It was not a competitive fight. Gogeta is basically just a Gogeta montage fest. Broly doesn't even do anything against, like, all he does, and people like are acting like this is admirable. Oh, well, he survived against No, he doesn't do anything. They hyped this up as, like, I don't know, Mayweather versus Pacquiao, or they're hyping this up as like a Mike Tyson or a big title fight, and Broly literally does nothing against Gogeta. Don't sensationalize this. This is misinformation.
Broly's able to hang in there with Gogeta until they go.
He's not hanging in there. He's not hanging in there. He gets no offense in there. What is your? This man has a very giving interpretation of hanging in there. He got destroyed and didn't do anything.
Alternate realm when they shatter reality. Now, in this purple void world, we see Broly power.
It's not a purple void world. They basically just ripped off of Budokai Tenkaichi 1 intro, where Buu and Goku like go into the instant transmission dimension or whatever, and they do a little bit of fighting and then they bounce out of it. Don't call this like this a whole new world. That just, like, no.
Up one more time where his armor breaks off of him and he turns gigantic and buff and has green hair, and this
he does not have green hair
now as Broly full power, which is another transformation. Now, why am I saying that? Why isn't it just full power Super Saiyan? Because it's not.
It is full power Super Saiyan. Watch
Broly
this.
Not only gains a considerable amount of size, but he's bigger than ever and stronger than ever, because this forces Gogeta to go into Gogeta.
Force it, like, he just goes Super Saiyan Blue. It was no force involved. They don't even. Oh, come on now, real.
Blue, if you remember. So, this form, the reason why I'm even calling it a form is because it is a form. Because this form is
it's a non-canon form.
Throwback to the original Broly.
Watch where we're getting to here.
Z movies.
This form, Super Saiyan Full Power Broly in Dragon Ball Super Broly is non-canon, and he's about to say exactly why.
Original guidebooks. I'm saying the word original a lot, but I have to here. In the original guidebooks, it actually differentiates Broly Super Saiyan from Legendary Super Saiyan. So
yes, they differentiate it because there's an obvious difference when you look at Super Saiyan Broly in both movie 8 and movie 10 and compare them to Legendary Super Saiyan. There is a super key visual difference. One is just Broly is at his regular height, but his same body mass in Super Saiyan state. And then when he goes Legendary Super Saiyan, he's buffed up. However, the key thing about the Legendary Super Saiyan state is that he gets all this amazing amount of power that continues to rise, and that he does not get a speed decrease.
So when Broly gets to his full power in the old Broly movies, this is LSSJ Broly, and it is...
Your whole YouTube channel is a L. Just...
its own transformation according to the guidebooks. Now, obviously, the guidebooks don't have as much weight as Toriyama's word or the original.
Boy, the guidebooks. Oh my! What did he just say? The guidebooks are Toriyama's word. That is why they are guidebooks. The company got the information from him. And these are basically his words on everything in Dragon Ball. Every plot point, every character, every transformation, every technique. That is what the guidebooks are. Why are you trying to split? Why are you trying to split the thing between, oh, well, the guidebook and Toriyama's word? The guidebooks are Toriyama's word.
Original manga, and they're covering movies that Toriyama did not write, the old movies, of course, but Toriyama certainly may have taken influence from them. In fact, he said he did.
He wrote them. He wrote the guy.
In the original interview for the Broly movie, the new one, and thus that tells me that if they're going to count this as its own form back in the day...
Yes, it is separate from Legendary Super Saiyan. It's not even canon because, watch this.
Then logically that tells me that Broly Full Power from the new movie is basically the new version of Legendary Super Saiyan.
No, it's not. It's not a new version. It is separate. Watch this.
Saying that original transformation that Broly had exclusive to him for his movies. Now, the word Legendary Super Saiyan gets thrown around a lot with a lot of different context. I mean, I could make a whole video.
No, it doesn't. The only difference is before Broly was originally made, yes, on Namek they said Goku was the Legendary Super Saiyan, and that the key difference is when they referred to Goku as the Legendary Super Saiyan before Broly was even created, it was more from a mythological standpoint, not the actual name of the form. The form is called Super Saiyan, but they were referring to Goku as the title of the Legendary Super Saiyan because he was the first one in a millennia. This fit the whole prophecy that Vegeta was telling us from the Saiyan saga up to the Namek saga to where it happened. So Broly's form is actually called the Legendary Super Saiyan form, the real deal. And the reason that this form was made was because of the oversaturation of Super Saiyans. Like you had Gohan doing it, Vegeta's kid doing it, Vegeta himself, Goku, future Gohan. And then if you want to go and count Buu Saga, you go 10 and Trunks. But you had all these people going Super Saiyan, and it had oversaturated the form. So they made the Legendary Super Saiyan because Broly was the only one, which means that he was the real deal. He was the one that the prophecy was talking about. So his form is actually called the Legendary Super Saiyan, and it has better perks than the Super Saiyan state. Now, we've never gotten a real multiplier for the Legendary Super Saiyan form, and it sort of doesn't matter to a certain degree because His power is constantly rising, whether you call that just a power increase or constant Zenkai boost, but he's getting a constant increase in power, and he loses no speed despite having the increased size. So it's sort of like it makes me think of Dragon Ball Super episode 100, because it's fresh on my mind, where Caulifla goes into the weighted power form, and Goku immediately says the downfall of that form is that you lose all your speed. So yeah, you have a lot of power, but you're never going to touch anybody. So sort of Broly is like this, where he probably has a way bigger multiplier than that particular form that Caulifla took on, but also he doesn't lose speed. He's still fast, he's still able to catch his enemies, and he is dangerous because of this.
Video on that, and maybe I will someday, but the form itself does have that name in the original Daizenshus, and thus that tells me that Broly Full Power is its own form, plus he's a lot bigger, and when he goes back to Planet
It's not
Pampa,
bigger than the original Legendary Super. No, it's not.
And he powers down, you see him decrease in size. So
of course he's gonna decrease in size when he powers down. When you thought his base form was just gonna, boy, I swear, just people spread misinformation.
Whatever power this is, which is of course very similar to Kale's power.
No, it's not. As much as I like Kale, no, it is not. They are called two completely different things. Even this new Broly had a new form that is separate. It is not called Berserker form. Kale's is called the Berserker state. And we don't know the multipliers for that. We don't know. Basically, hers is a separate tree. We know that at the end of it, she controls the power and she just looks like a regular Super Saiyan. So we don't know what's going on there. We just know it ends up with her looking like a regular Super Saiyan, but it does look substantially different from her base form. So like her base form is dainty little Kale, and then her controlled Super Saiyan state is a more athletic, bulkier form, but not quite as big as the Berserker form. Now Broly is a different case, where when he goes Wrathful Ikari, he buffs up. He goes Super Saiyan, he buffs up. He goes Super Saiyan Full Power, he buffs up again. And again, they call that one Berserker, where they theorize that it may be a Saiyan's true power, but you have to remember that the Universe 6 Saiyans are a different universe of Saiyans. Therefore, their whole thing is different from the Universe 7 Saiyans, where now we look at Broly, this whatever updated Broly, his form is Super Saiyan Full Power. And yeah, from the looks of it, is definitely more powerful than Goku or Vegeta's Super Saiyan forms, the Super Saiyan 1 forms. But that's all we know about it. But it is not comparable to the Kale version or whatnot. It's a lot more powerful.
Or in Universe 6, that tells me that there's similarities here. And of course, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. That this is obviously to tell the fans, hey, it's not the old Broly, but we're going to give you some of the stuff the old Broly did.
No, they didn't. They didn't even do the scene where Broly walks through the Kamehameha wave. If they wanted to establish that Broly was anywhere near Gogeta in power, they would have had Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta like do a Kamehameha, and then Broly just walk through it, and then maybe it takes something else for Gogeta to do to put him down. But no, this Broly was just too different. It's sort of like the difference of Zilla from the 1998 Godzilla and the original real Godzilla that everyone differentiates the two.
Power. It's never stated exactly how strong he is, because we never see Gogeta Blue go all out. We see a little bit of his power, but we never see him truly go all out, even though in the Broly novel it does state that we saw a bit of his full power. We didn't see everything.
It's just being very ambiguous. That's all it is. We never saw Super Saiyan Blue Vegeto's full power in the Zamasu arc or the Future Trunks arc. Why are you making a big deal about this? Why are you spreading misinformation?
Everything. Gogeta Blue does win the fight. Now, please be aware that this transformation was created, or that is to say, recreated, not by Akira Toriyama. It actually was not even included in the original design sheets that
Okay, so he just confirmed what I was saying. Super Saiyan Full Power is non-canon. It was not made by Akira Toriyama. It was made by Shintani. This form, Akira Toriyama didn't even intend for this Broly to be even close to legendary. That's why you see in the manga page where they reference the events of Broly, he's only in a Super Saiyan transformation, and that's all, which kind of makes no sense because it continues to make the God transformations look pointless, because this guy shows up and he's able to go against the God forms. But again, this is probably why Super Saiyan Full Power underperformed the way that it did, because it was never meant to be a thing. I'll make a separate video about it, going into greater detail, but just saying that Geekdom already did part of the work in saying that Akira Toriyama did not create this form. Super Saiyan Full Power is not even canon.
Toriyama sent to Toei for the film. No, this was meant to be a purposeful Easter egg, a purposeful
It's not
throwback.
An Easter egg. They didn't hide it. It wasn't hidden. It's in plain view. An Easter egg is something in the background or something that only true fans can catch on to. They literally plastered this on posters. This was not an Easter egg. Learn your terminology.
By art director Naohiro Shintani. That about does it for this video. If Broly gets new forms, I will do an update.
Which he won't, because he'll be forgotten about. They've moved on to Moro with no mention of Broly. That it's as though he never happened in the manga, which should tell you what's going to happen in the future of Dragon Ball. He's a non-factor unless they want to do a Tournament of Power 2.0 and bring him back. He's a non-factor, and they probably won't even bring him back for that, because they could have brought back Trunks for the Tournament of Power arc, and they chose not to. So yeah.
Version in the future of Dragon Ball Super, but that covers everything from base, suppressed, Super Saiyan, and then
base, Wrathful, Super Saiyan, and the non-canon Super Saiyan Full Power, because it was not made by Akira Toriyama, with your own words.
Legendary, or the new name is Full Power. It's the same.
It's not the new name. They're two different Broly movie 8 and movie 10 and Broly or Dragon Ball Super Broly are two different characters from basically two different universes in Dragon Ball. There is a legendary Super Saiyan. It's not been renamed, not been rebranded. It's just been forgotten about for right now.
Concept, I think. Giant Broly doesn't get any speed reductions or anything like that. No,
you can't tell. He did get speed. You might as well have got speed reduced, because Gogeta just beat the snot out of him. He couldn't even catch him.
Handicaps.
So Super Saiyan Full Power does have a speed decrease.
Just out of control. So anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching.
Okay, so that's been me correcting Geekdom101 or Geekdom090, because his information was not up to snuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yes, I will do a future video covering that last bit of information about the Super Saiyan Full Power story and how that goes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell for more content from this channel, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.